Hello everyone, I'm Andrew from Modhouse Gaming, and today we're going to look at a game of two halves in the pregame sequence for Blood Bowl. So, basically this is the pregame stuff you need to handle before you even put minis on the board, before you roll off on the kickoff table and all that stuff. So, these are just 6 steps that you should take when you're doing a league game or even a friendly game, just to get in a good practice of it. So first step, we're just going to go drive, in it. You're going to bring your team draft list, right, that we covered in the last video. And then you're also going to select the pitch. Pitches have different rules and stuff, and we'll get into that into a later video. But for now, we're going to assume you have your team list, and your pitch already there. You guys will open your page up to 37 of your core rulebook, and you're going to follow the 6 steps here. So the first step is the fan factor, right? So the fans. You're going to roll, both coaches will roll a D3. So that means D6, but 1 and 2 is 1, 3 and 4 is 2, and 5 and 6 is 3. I'll say it again slowly. 1 and 2 count as 1. 3 and 4 count as 2. And 5 and 6 count as 3 when rolling a D6. Okay? So that's how you roll a D3. So you roll a D3, and you add your dedicated fans. If you remember on the roster, the Black Orc team had 1, and I think the Imperial Nobility had 2. You add that to your D3 roll. So let's say I'm playing Black Orcs, and I rolled a 1. Or a 2. I rolled a 2, right? That counts as 1 because we're on a D3 basis, yeah? So 1 plus the 1 dedicated fans I have equals, boom, 2, magic, wow. So you just put that in your fan factor on the back page. This is basically everything you're filling out in that pregame sequence that I told you about on the back page of the team roster. You're just going to fill that out, fan factor 2. So there you go. Easy peasy. And that will come into play later in the post-game sequence. That will be in a later video. Again, I'm sorry, but that's just how it is. Next up is the weather. So step 2 is weather. So you basically, each coach is going to roll on the weather table here. Unless your pitch has special rules for weather, you use this table, okay? So make sure you read your pitch beforehand, before using this table. But let's say if you're just using the starter set, you just use this table here. We're going to go over actually each one of these right now. So that way you guys know how these work in the game. And basically a little overview of what can happen with each one. So if you both would roll a d6, or if someone can roll 2d6, you add it up and that's your result. Okay? On a 2, it becomes Sweltering Heat. So some players faint in the unbearable heat. D3 random selected players from each team that are on the pitch when a drive ends are placed in the reserve box. They must miss the next drive. So when we say drive, we mean before a touchdown, okay? So each drive is a section of kickoff and touchdown. That time in between we call a drive, okay? So let's say someone scores a touchdown and Sweltering Heat is on as the weather. That means that you have to follow the rules here. You roll D3 randomly, so somehow you rolled a D3, let's say you get max 3 random players on your side of the pitch. You guys can determine how to randomly select them. Will faint. They'll just be gone for the next drive, the next kickoff. That sucks, right? But then they'll get back up and they'll join you in the next one. A good way to avoid Sweltering Heat is score a touchdown right before the half, have one team kick off in turn 8 and Sweltering Heat, and then you guys get back up for the next half. That would be very beneficial. A bad thing would happen was if Sweltering Heat's early in the turns, and now you have one drive that everyone went in, you got a touchdown, and now you have 3 players just gone. That sucks. So yeah, Sweltering Heat can be very bad for teams, but also can be really beneficial if only you lost one guy and the other guy lost 3, right? So that can be really good. Next up is very sunny. So on a roll of 3, so remember you're rolling 2d6. So that one was Snake Eyes, 1 and 1, that's 2. On a roll of 3, a glorious day, but the clear skies and bright sunlight interfere with the passing game. Apply a -1 modifier every time a player tests against their passing ability. So whenever you're passing the ball, you will have an extra -1 modifier. So even if you're getting tagged, even if you're still getting tagged, you still get a -1, and you get a -1 again from this sunny day. So it's very sunny outside, lights in your eyes, you can't really see, and you're throwing it wherever, right? Just make sure to do the -1. We'll go again over passing. I'll mention very sunny again in the passing video, and yeah, we'll talk about how modifiers affect the rule and all that stuff. Affect the roll and all that stuff later. Next up is perfect conditions. So on a roll from 4 to 10, this is awesome. Okay, perfect conditions, nothing special is happening. You don't have to worry about weather. You just play Blood Bowl. Awesome, love it. Then you have 11, pouring rain. Some rainstorm just comes in and it just starts pouring. There's rain everywhere. It says a torrential downpour leaves the players soaked and the ball very slippery. Apply a -1 modifier every time a player makes an agility test to catch or pick up the ball or attempt to interfere with a pass. So that can happen when you're picking up the ball. You get another extra -1. Again, we'll go into how tackle zones and applying modifiers to tests can work. But basically, very sunny affects passing test, and pouring rain affects agility test, but not dodging. It never said anything about dodging. It only says picking up the ball, attempting to catch the ball, and interfering with a pass. Okay, so make sure you're not applying an extra -1 dodging for pouring rain, because that's not what it says. Okay. Next up, blizzard, freezing conditions, and so basically heavy snow just falls on the field, making the footing treacherous. Apply a -1 modifier every time a player attempts to rush an extra space. Additionally, the poor visibility means that only quick and short passes can be attempted. So blizzard on a 12, 6 and 6. You get a -1 when you're going for a rush. Some people call it going for it because that's what they call it in the game. Going for it, rush, it's the same thing. You're moving that extra square. You get another -1 modifier that becomes a 3 up. It sucks. Then doing the short passes. Also, there's only quick pass and short passes you can make. You can't go past that limit of squares. Again, we'll go in that in the passing video. So that's weather. That's all the weather stuff. It's the weather table. Again, you just go to page 37. It's there for you. You just roll d6s and you'll figure it out, okay? Easy peasy. 3, take on journeyman. So journeyman, basically, when you run out of players in your league, let's say it's your 3rd game in the league or whatever, and you only have 10 players in your roster because everyone else died, right? You need to get up to 11. So the game automatically gives you a free journeyman. They will push you a journeyman and say, hey, take this guy. He's your lineman, but he has loner because he's not part of your team. Now, journeymen are very interesting in the fact that they do have loner, and loner is basically when you're using a team reroll to reroll for that character, that person in particular, you have to roll 4 up first to use the reroll. If you fail that 4 up, you lose that reroll, and that's it. All right, you take whatever result it is. So that's just loner. Also, after the game, you can hire the journeyman for the lineman cost. So let's say you didn't have enough money to buy a lineman for that game, and they gave you a free one. Well, now the journeyman's like, hey, I played for your team, and I survived. Would you like me to play for your team? Like, I kind of like it here. And you can be like, oh, yeah, sure, I'll pay the 45 here. You're on the team. You just erase that loner trait, and boom, he's there, right? But if you don't, he's gone. Get another lineman next game. Or maybe you made enough money to buy an extra positional that you wanted. So just really depends on what you want. That's journeyman. That's step 3. Now you do inducements. Both coaches decide if they will purchase inducements in the game ahead, paid for them from treasuries and from petty cash. So again, you calculate your current team value and subtract it from the other player's current team value. If yours is higher, you get no petty cash. You can only use treasury to buy inducements. And when you are below, you get petty cash based on the difference of current team value. Okay, that is very important. Inducements can really help your game plan. They can really change things. Master Chef is great. Extra team rules, apothecaries, star players, things can really heat up in the inducement phase. So just make sure you're calculating those right. We'll get into the inducement video next time when we look at inducements in the next video. So yeah, inducements, really good. After you're done with inducements, you calculate your next current team value. So all your inducements, all that money, you now add it to the new current team value. In that little box on the back side, it says new current team value. You put it there. You add up all the stuff you spent and add your current team value to it. So now it's your new current team value. Make sense? Current team value plus inducements equals new current team value. That's just how that works. Okay? If you are still 50,000 gold pieces below the other player after inducements, you get to roll on the Prayers to Nuffle. You get a little special rule. You roll a d16. I'll show you right here. This is the Prayers to Nuffle table. And this is basically saying all the same stuff that I've been saying. Prayers to Nuffle table, there's a bunch of Prayers to Nuffle. I'm not going to go through all 16 of these because they're all very complicated. They're all very weird. Just make sure you read them carefully. And make sure that both opponents know that that prayer to Nuffle is in effect for the game, okay? Or as long as it says. Some inducements also, I should point out, inducements sometimes will happen before the game, so make sure you do those before, such as like Master Chef happens before each half. So make sure you're doing that. You go to step 6. You determine the kicking team. So flip a coin, draw straws, roll some dice, have a roll-off, whatever you feel like is best. I personally like doing a flip a coin. Each team has a little coin. One has your symbol, your team symbol, and the other side has a blood bowl. I like using the blood bowl as a tails side, and you just flip it, heads or tails, boom, boom. Who's kicking, who's receiving, you figure that out. If you win the toss, you get to choose who's kicking and receiving, okay? Whoever wins gets to choose if they want the ball first or if they want to kick it first. That is very important in the kickoff phase, which we'll get to in a soon video, in a very soon video. But yeah, next up is going to be inducements. We're going to talk more about that in this next video. I just wanted to go over all that pregame stuff to make sure you guys are updating your little roster, backside of the roster list to make sure the leagues are going smoothly. It really helps not only your commissioner, but also you to keep track of what's going on. And especially later in the post-game sequence. So thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one, and have a good one.